Hey mates, and welcome to Blindformers. I'm your host, Blind Prime, and for today I'm going to be teaching you how to transform Transformers Studio Series 86 Megatron from his robot mode into his vehicle mode. This is a complicated transformation, but a fun one, and I'm going to teach you how to do it verbally, step by step. That way, if you're an individual who has a Studio Series 86 Megatron, but not the instructions, or you're an individual like me who's blind, you can follow along and learn how to transform your Megatron. How exciting. I am so happy to bring this figure to you. This figure is a lot of fun, and I've had a lot of fun learning him. And I'm breaking my normal rules here, but I'm going to recommend him. I'm going to recommend him in every video because he's just chef's kiss. He is that good. He is what I've been wanting in a Megatron. Now, other people may be a bit more pickier, and that's their prerogative. But for me, and my level of pickiness, this guy hits all the notes. He checks all the boxes. So let's get into him today, and I will teach you step by step how to transform him. So go below, hit the like button, please. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And of course, leave me a comment, because I love hearing from you. And I don't have many social media platforms, because of blindness and all. So if you could share my videos on your social media accounts, then you'd get 2 thumbs up from me. Thank you. So let's get into it. This is one of those transformations that if people aren't talking about, they should. Now, let's go ahead and first and foremost, we're going to take off his fusion cannon on one side, remove that blast effect, and then we're going to go ahead and get that blast effect off of his pistol, as he's got himself as a pistol, and I think it's funny, Megatron shooting Megatron. It's just great. And then we're spinning around to the back, and we're going to get rid of his laser sword. There we go, laser sword put off to the side, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of his little gun barrel thing that sticks up. Now, we've got a naked Megatron. First and foremost, we want to make sure we get his fists done. So I like to do this job first because it may take a little effort. You've got to fold his fingertips down so that they're behind his thumb. Like the thumb, then fingertips, then palm. So you want to make sure you've done that. It takes a little bit of effort because these joints are really small. But once you get them folded in... that one's not folded right. Come on. There it goes. All right, and there we are. Yeah. Uh-oh. That's something I can talk about later, but sometimes the fist pops out of its ball joint. But it's okay, because the way they built it, it stays in there, and it's just a ball joint, so it's easy enough to fix. Now let's come over here and do the other side. Close that pointer finger down, close these guys down, close that fist up. Oh, there we go. That's a nice solid fist. Excellent. Let's go ahead and come back over here to this arm and fix this problem we have. And this is a great opportunity for me to teach you how to fix the problem if your hand becomes a little crazy. So, feel on his arm. Here we go. And I'm going to explain where to find this piece. So let's get your arms lined up, sir. There we are. Okay. So if the siege port is facing exterior of the body, meaning facing away from him, then the side that you fold down will be facing inwards. So it's the exact opposite side from the siege port. So find the siege port, go on the other side, and then you'll find it's just big and flat, and it's got a couple of textures in it, but then go towards the top. This little area on the top of his forearm that has the little spike sticking out, that little nubbin, find the area between the side and that, and there's a crease there, and if you put your fingernail in the crease, you can fold down the entire side of his arm right there. And that's just neat. Then, oh, and there's that hand. Once you fold down that side, come over here to the top, where that little nubbin is we talked about, and fold that piece down. So now the siege port will be facing towards the ground, and the entire inner arm will be open. Now let's go ahead and put his fist back in there. There it is. It's in the ball joint socket. And it's not too hard to do. It's actually very easy. Then we're going to rotate the fist, and we're going to put it in. And this one's that part where I explained you got to make sure you do it right. So we're putting the fist in where we have the thumb facing outwards with the fingers curled in. And this is going to make it easier to pull this fist out later when you transform him back into robot mode. Please remember that part. Now we're going to close everything back up. We're done. Look at that. Excellently closed. Now let's come over here to the other side and follow the same steps. Raise your arm up. There we are. And close that down and then fold that open. Then we're going to rotate the fist so that the pinky's facing to the sky, and then we're going to close it up, and once we do that correctly, the thumb will be facing towards the sky. Isn't that nice? Then we're going to go ahead and close this up. Hey, something's wrong. There we are. Yeah, that articulated hand does not like to fit sometimes, so you got to make sure you fold those fingers correctly. A lot of this guy is going to be fold it correctly, or else it's not going to work right. Okay, those are done. Next step, going to go ahead and grab him by his shoulders. We're going to pull his shoulders out. Look at that. We're just going to pull his shoulders out as far as they will go. He is going to have some reach. Yeah, some reach. There it goes. Now now the shoulders are pulled out as far as they will go. We've got him looking a little weird, but it's okay. The next step is we're going to come down here, and this is actually something fun. So after you pull the shoulders out, come to his front chest panel, find his face, go to his chin, and then feel right in front of his chin, there's a crease. And you want to put your fingernail in that crease, and you want to pull down. Now, what does this do? This actually unlocks his chest panel down here, the one that makes up his abs and that Darth Vader looking thing I talked about. Now we're going to go ahead and fold that piece out just a bit so that it's no longer connected to anything. Then we can fold that chest panel forwards, and once we fold it forwards, there's a hole right here in his chest, and his head will rotate downwards. Remember, rotate it so the optics face the wall so that, his optics don't get damaged. Let's get that head rotated in there. Unless, of course, you have to rotate it in backwards. You may have to rotate it in backwards. Hey, head, what are you doing? Come on. Come on now. Oh, right. We gotta unfold this back panel. So, now that you've loosened up the head, go ahead and reach behind him. Find those 2 siege ports that are on his back. Okay? And 1 and 2. And then reach below them and pull up. There we go. So reach below, you'll find a rounded joint there, and you want to pull up at that. And that's going to free up more space in the chest. Now that there's more space freed up, his head can fit in there very nicely, and then we can go ahead and close up that front section. Before we do, we got to extend it a bit. So fold the backpack out, then fold the head in, then close that chest area. But this chest has 2 joints to it. So one that closes and covers the head, but the lower part moves upwards. And then find the edge of his chest, and you'll find there is another seam there. So get your fingernail into that seam at the very edge, lowest part, and rotate out this little bitty piece of plastic that will make up the very front of the tank mode. That piece of plastic needs to be rotated out, and it will lock in place once rotated out. There you go. Wonderful. Now, we've got all of this stuff kind of hanging out here. Got all these pieces done, and next step is we've got to find the arms. So go to that back panel we folded out that has the siege pegs. Then reach your thumb underneath that panel. Find where the end of the arms are. So I'm going to kind of flip him over so if you can see, you can get an idea. And then you're going to grab that piece with the edge of your finger and rotate it outwards. There we go. And now his hands are going to be rotated outwards and make this big old plane as we have origami'd him. I just love the fact that he just origamis like that and get all this stuff that just suddenly folds out. Now we've got the top of Megatron, which is only on 1 joint, as now that we've connected everything away from it, and there is a caster wheel underneath him, and this will make him the front of the tank mode with a little wheel. Yeah, but we're not really gonna mess with that just yet, because now we need to come over here to the legs, and we need to start fiddling around with these guys. Now, first step is take his side skirts and raise them up so that they're out of the way, and then rotate his waist 180 degrees, and I hope I'm remembering to do that right. Sometimes you rotate, sometimes you don't rotate, and it can be confusing sometimes. So this time, I believe you're supposed to rotate. Now, collapse the legs, fold the legs down, and you'll find that there is there's a little spot that hangs out there that's got a little bitty hole in it that's rectangular, and that's actually the spot where something's going to plug in. And what's going to plug in, you may ask? Well, if you feel on the underside of this, let me find it. There it is. there is, on the underside, there is this tiny little rectangular peg that hangs out inside of all that stuff we just unfolded. And that tiny little peg is going to connect into the groin. So we're going to pick up all of his leg stuff, and it's going to just kind of rotate inwards. But before we do that, we've got to transform the legs, and this is one of the more fun parts about it. So let's go ahead and move these legs back to their normal position so we have enough space. And then come to the front of the leg and pull at his toe. Pull his toe, and his entire front of his leg is going to fold up. Then we're going to go ahead and fold it around. We're just going to play with it, and it's just going to hang out in the sky, okay? Do the same with the other piece. There it goes. Fold it up. Next step, we are going to then take his toes, and his toes are going to fold down. Oh, yeah. And they're on a little ratcheted joint, so you'll get one click and then two clicks, and it's folded down. So there we go. Toes folded down. Make sure they're extended out. There we go. So we got both of the toe areas folded out and folded down, and now we've revealed the inner legging works. Next step, come around here to the back. You'll find that there's this boxy thing on his heel. That boxy thing needs to get folded downwards, okay? And it's going to unclasp itself from a clasp in there, and it's going to allow his legs to have more freedom to transform. Do the same on the other leg. Pull out that little heel box and untab it from the treads. As now that that's untabbed and the front of the leg is undone, these legs can now transform. And how do they transform? They fold out. They fold out. They're really fun. Now we're going to fold both of them out all the way. But we're not going to do anything with them just yet because we have to do something special with these legs. Something really intriguing. So find the interior and the exterior of the legs, okay? And this is important. You need to make sure you know which side is which. If you can't see, one side has some pegs on it, like a big rectangular peg and a smaller rectangular peg. Those pegs are going to go towards the robot. So the other side actually has these rivets and this armor paneling and the little wheels, and that's going to go on the exterior. So reach for the exterior at the top, and you'll find that there's this rectangular hole just kind of hanging out at the top of the tread. If you put one fingernail on one side of that rectangular hole and the other fingernail on the other, and you pull towards the riveted side of the exterior tank side of Megatron, you'll pull that front of the tank tread open. And this is going to reveal an inner part, which will allow you to grab this tiny little piece here. And this little piece of tank folds out and will go into that little hollow spot that we just used to unfold this tank tread. Then we're going to go ahead and sandwich that back down. And then we have a really nice little tank tread there. And we're going to go around here to the back of the tank and do the same thing again. Make sure that you're doing the correct side because you can't pull the other side. So find the rivets, find the little tank wheels and the exterior tread, and then pull that side forwards. It's going to unfold, allowing you to reach in here and grab a tiny little piece of tank and fold that out, and then you can sandwich that piece back down. Now that we've done the two little tank pieces, take this heel that we unfolded earlier, and it's going to rotate all the way around till it gets to the exterior of the tank mode from the interior, where it was at originally. And it's going to do something fun. If it can just, there it goes. There we are. And it's all going to kind of snap into place and look really, really nice. But you got to make sure you line it up. And this one's going to be one of those moments where you need to make sure the tank treads are completely aligned, as that heel section then becomes the center of the tank treads. So you have part A and part B, and then that center connects it all together and makes this a solid structure. So let's go ahead and follow those steps again on the other side of this transformer. Coming around here to the other side, and we're going to do everything like we did before. So first and foremost, find the spots that connect to things, and find the spots that don't connect to things. Okay, so there it is. There's that rectangular peg. There's the smaller rectangular peg. This is the exterior of the transformer. Excellent. Now, doing the same thing again, peeling back the front tread area and pulling out this tiny little tank piece, and it rotates and just kind of lays there in place. Then sandwiching that piece down, locking that little tank front in place. Now we're going to come around here to the back, and we're going to pull open that tank armor with the treads. We're going to reach in here, we're going to pull out this little piece here. There it goes. It's going to just fall in place, and then we're going to go ahead and sandwich that back down. Then we're going to come around here to the middle, and remember, you can't pull these two platforms open. You can't pull these little doors open if this center heel thing is put in place. So that's why I'm leaving this for last, because you need enough space to actually open these panels, and I don't want you to strain your plastic or anything. I want you to have a nice looking Megatron. So that's why we're doing it this way. Now, go ahead and pull this little heel piece up and around, and make sure that you line the treads up, and it locks into place very nicely, and we've got a nice solid side of a tank. Cool. Now we have two sides of a tank, and we have a Megatron that's halfway transformed. Isn't that neat? I just love how this guy comes together. He's just so much fun. Okay, now, now we're going to go ahead and kick those thighs down like we did before where I explained it. And this is going to squinch him up just a bit. And then we're going to rotate that, the groin area underneath the arms and stuff with that front assembly. And it's going to, hopefully, if you do it right, lock in place with that tab that's in there. There we go. I got it locked in place, and I did that on the first try. I'm proud of myself there. Make sure you pull the front panels forward so that we get the nice tank shape we're looking for. Got to pay attention to that tank shape. Now, we're going to mess with the arms at the end, because the arms are actually my least favorite part of this transformation. I wish they had done more with these, but we will talk about that in a bit. So we're going to just collapse those arms in on each other so they're just kind of out of the way. We don't need them mucking up this part of the transformation. No, we do not. Move the two armor panels that were at the front of Megatron's legs that we folded the toes up. Move them upwards so that they just kind of butt up against the back of the arms. And this is going to allow us to have plenty of free roaming space in here to move these panels down, the side of the tank, and move them around so that they cover everything that needs to get covered. Oh, right. Almost forgot an important step. So go ahead and lower these tank things down. We forgot about these skirts. So the skirts, remember I told you to move those out? Now we're going to fold them up, and they're actually going to go on the underside of this transformer. Very neat. Okay, so remember on the back of his thighs, on the robot video, I talked about there being two pegs, rectangular pegs that are just sticking out. Well, if you feel on the inside of his skirt, you'll find there's a rectangular peg hole. And if you move the skirt back and you put it down in there, it will plug into that and lock this leg in place, and that will really help you out with the transformation. And I should have done that earlier. And there we go. So that one locks into place, I think. Did we lock it? No, we did not lock it. Come on. Okay, let's go ahead and get this other one lined up, and hopefully we can lock them both down, because they really need to be locked in place to make sure that we get things correct and nothing kind of moves around. And that's something I appreciate about this transformation. There's points that you connect together just to ensure some stability in assisting you in transforming it further. So now that we got these two pieces collected in, they are nice and tight, we can move this entire assembly back into place it was before. So the groin is going to go back under the arms and connect back into that piece. And let's see if I can do it just as good the second time as I did the first, because that was really nice that I did it the correct way the first time. I did it again. I'm proud of myself. Okay, and there we go. It's nice and tight. Now we can go ahead and kick these legs down on either side. Let's go ahead and move the tank treads around and kind of set them up so that they're on that side too. And we're doing pretty good now. We're doing pretty good. We got kind of a tank going on here. Yeah, it's actually looking like a tank. So now we're going to come around here and find those rectangular pegs that are in underneath the tank. So on the one side, we've got the rivets and the tank treads. On the inside, we got a couple of rectangular pegs, one larger than the other one. Line them up. You use your fingertip and find the rectangular peg holes. There's a big one, and then there's a smaller one, and that smaller one's a little harder to get to, but it should clip in place correctly if everything lines up right. But there's a bigger one and a smaller one. And now we just kind of got to get those guys to correctly align, and that will allow us to have a really good little transformation there. This is one of the hardest parts of today's transformation, is aligning these grooves and making sure that all of these things kind of peg in together and work. And this is one of the more difficult parts about it, because it never wants to line up quite the way you expect it to. So you have to just kind of fiddle around, play around with it, and get these things kind of smushed together. and it doesn't always want to work. And that is kind of the biggest negative on this transformation, is this part. But it's not bad. It's just not as good as I would like it to be. So gotta move the tank treads around. We gotta get that lined up. Once you get it lined up, it really kind of comes together. But getting that, there it goes. Okay, so that part's lined up. Now we gotta get this part lined up into that little joint area. Is that part lined up? No. Come on now, line up. There you go. Oh, yeah, that's it. That's the correct move. Okay, now that they're lined up on the thigh holes, we can then go ahead and collapse this back down. Come on, arms, get out of the way. You're always in the way. Go ahead and move this piece around and move these arms again because they're always in the way. There it goes. The groin clip is reclipped. The thigh clips have unclipped themselves, but it's okay. We're still getting those side panels plugged in. So this is where you're going to use a little pressure. Use your fingers to pressure, put some pressure on the groin below the transformer, and then use your thumb to put some pressure on the groin above the transformer, and hold that groin in place as we try to squishmallow these tank treads into place. They don't always want to go correctly, but you can get it right. This is one of those transformations that's just taking a little time and finesse to get right. And honestly, it's like 86 Optimus Prime. It took a little time and finesse to get right, but you end up with an excellent mode. So now that I've gotten these two tank treads going all the way down, and they are not wanting to connect at the very end of this guy. Come on. Work together. Okay, I think that's as good as it's getting. Now come down here to the underside. We'll find that his stupid little his ab panel, his Darth Vader panel, needs to get folded up out of the way. Make sure you're careful about that, because this buddy likes to pop out. He just will pop out randomly if you're not. See, did it? It popped out. It doesn't like this part of the transformation. No, it does not. And that is a shame. I wish they had found a way to make this piece a little more versatile, because if you don't do it right, it does not want to live in that spot. It just doesn't. It's going to be a bulbous, annoying thing underneath your transformation if it doesn't fold correct. And this one is just refusing to fold correctly, and I don't know what to do about that. That is a negative on this transformation, is that little bit there. There are a few, I admit, like this guy, as much as I want him to be an S rank, he is not getting that S rank. I'm sorry, because of that stupid chest piece. So we can just remove it, and it's okay, but that's cheating. We don't cheat here. There it goes. Okay, that's got it. No. All right. We got to figure out how to get this piece to lock in, and it's a weird piece, and it constantly is changing on me, and I just screwed everything up by squishing in the wrong squish part. This guy's so fragile until you get him transformed. He is a fragile thing. We got to get this chest piece, this stupid ab thing, to be in the correct position, and until it gets in the correct position, we're not going to have fun. Okay, now it's in the correct position, I think. I hope. And now we're going to go ahead and collapse these thigh things down again. They're going to try and lock into place. Come on, guys. Come on now. Lock into place. This is not one of those transformations that you can do in a quick amount of time. You're not going to be able to just kind of transform this guy quickly. He takes a little time and a little finesse. And there we go. Okay, now we've got to squeeze the tank treads back in place on either side of him. Come on, squish him around. Get him working. Come on, dude. There it goes. Yeah, there it is. One side squished in place. The other side squished in place. The stupid under thing is not squishing in place. And the front of his tank mode collapsed down again. Oh, man. Okay, there we go. That's squished in place. That's squished in place. That's squished in place. You are now squished in place, but you fell out again because you just don't have enough grip. Why is it that they gave us all of these metal pins everywhere, and then for his stupid ab thing, when that actually needs a metal pin to just hold it in place during this transformation. They couldn't have given it to us. You know, we're just there. All right, next step, remove the ab thing from inside of it and set it off to the side. Yeah, you don't even need it for this transformation step. There it goes. Okay, now that we got the stupid ab thing out of the way, he transformed together quite nicely. Yeah. Whew. I am hating this humid summer. Okay, next step is we're going to go ahead and collapse down his legs. And the armor pieces on his legs, they're going to collapse down into this onto the back of the tank mode. And then those heels, those toes are going to fold down and cover that back area and kind of make it look like an engine compartment. So we're going to go ahead and fold each of those heels down. Okay, or each of the feet down. And around. Come on now. No. Don't you do it that way. Okay, there it goes. All right, and there we go. Okay. Has that got it? No. I did it wrong. Let's go ahead and collapse the toes underneath this back armor. Nope, that's not got it, and everything fell apart again. Whew. I tell you, this guy he's not an easy transformer. Okay, and this is, pardon me, this is definitely advanced transformer right here. We're trying to get these stupid toes to fold correctly. They don't ever like to fold correctly. Now we got them. No, that's not right. You're supposed to fold down, not like that. Okay, so we're just going to collapse you in on yourself. Okay, you're there, and you go there. Okay, you guys are great. You're great. Now collapse down. No, not like that. You're supposed to just kind of fold in, and then you're supposed to just kind of fold in and lay down, and you're supposed to... There it is. Okay. Just got to get these toes to wrap around and underneath the thigh area, the back of the legs area, or underneath those treads at the rear. And that should do it. But in the process of doing that, the entire thing fell apart again because that one little... So that's something else. That little bitty clip at the groin is not strong enough, in my opinion. It's too small. It needed to be just slightly deeper. Or slightly wider to allow a better connection. Or, a siege peg, because circles are the best. Okay, now we're going to come around here to the front area. We're going to fold out that front of the tank. We're going to fold everything down inside here. And he will roll. There it goes. Excellent. We got the rolling down, which means that we didn't clutter up the back end too much. I still don't like how he rolls. The clearances on this guy are so small. It is just it's insane how close these clearances are. All right, now that we've gotten all that completed, let's work on the arms and fold this stuff up. So on the arms, find that forearm that has the tiny little spike, the tiny little peg that we talked about before, and then come over here and find your fusion cannon. Now, when you look at your fusion cannon, you will find there is tiny little indents around the place where the siege peg is. These little indents are on either side, and there's sweat in my eye. Just a second. Oh my god. I wish my dehumidifier hadn't broken. All right. Let's see. We got that little piece there, and there it is. All right. I found the little nubbins. They're hard to find, but you can find them. Now, something I do is I put the barrel forwards and this big fat thing on the rear backwards, and I put the siege peg towards the sky. Then we're going to come around here and we're just going to attach it into that spot on his arm, so that little peg that we talked about earlier. And then we're just going to kind of rotate these arms around. And these arms are my least favorite part of this transformation. I really wish they had figured out something else to do with these. I really do wish. Because at the end of the day, with how complicated all this transformation is, these arms, you just kind of fold them up a bit, you rotate this cannon around, you come around here into it, and I tell you verbatim how to do it, but I do it differently every time because there's so many joints in these arms. It never looks quite right or quite the same every single time. I'm not a person that does it perfectly. So we got to get those two nubbins put into place. Come on. And once again, I do wish they were bigger because it does make it a little more difficult to attach them if they're not. There we go. Okay, and that's the gun attached. Now that the gun is attached, we can come around here to the front, and I know it's not the best in the world. I'm gonna be honest with you. These arms for Megatron have given me nothing but a headache. I really don't know how to transform them any more than I've already transformed them. I wish there was a little more intuitiveness going on there, but it's not the case. There was a way that I thought it worked, but when you did it that way, the fusion cannon didn't connect into the center. There wasn't enough space for the fusion cannon. So if you want the fusion cannon, you got to do it the way I just said, and you don't clip on, pull or push on the back of your tank mode. Everything will unfold itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of re-put this piece in here. We're just gonna put this piece backwards. There it goes. Yeah, so that's something else you can do with the stupid chest piece. Just take it out, rotate it around, and put it in backwards, and it's going to rest nicely. Now, the next step is we're just gonna go ahead and put his sword on one of these siege pegs. And oh, why did your arms why did they do that? Don't do that. Okay. There are 2 siege ports on his side of his tank mode somewhere. I did find them earlier. There's one. All right. And there's the siege ports. We're going to put his sword on that siege port on that side, and then we're going to put his gun in the siege port at the top of the arm, and of course disconnect the fusion cannon, because, why not? The moment you touch him, his fusion cannon disconnects. There we go. Okay, fusion cannon reconnected, guy transformed. This is Megatron. Whew, that was a difficult video to make. That was a difficult transformation to explain. It's got a lot of issues. It's got a lot of problems, and as much as I want to make this an S-ranked transformation, I just can't. I desperately want to call this S, okay? For as good as the robot mode is for Megatron, it's not going to be like Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime, where I gave that transformation an S ranking out of the gate. This guy is going to get an a flat A. It's a great... There's a lot happening with this transformation, but there's just a few things that ruin it for me, and they ruin the fun of this transformation. The ab panel that you have that never wants to be correct, and then these legs constantly wanting to pop out of their sockets, unmoor themselves from their connection points, and the fact that we get so many of these vehicle modes that once we get it in a vehicle mode, it is really difficult to get it out of vehicle mode. And that's great. It feels solid. It feels sturdy. This guy's vehicle mode doesn't feel as solid and as sturdy as some of the other Transformers that we have experienced in these past few years. And that's why he's getting an A. He's excellent, excellent robot mode. Very complicated transformation that makes you think, makes you sweat. I really love those things. I just wish I could give it an S, but I can't. I can only give it an A. It's a wonderful transformation otherwise. And I've been Blind Prime, and this has been Blindformers. I hope that you've enjoyed today's episode and today's explanation on how to transform Studio Series 86 Megatron from robot mode into vehicle mode. Thank you for hanging out with me for this entire video. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the vehicle mode, and we're going to talk about its pros and its cons, and the things that I like about it and the things I dislike about it. So please, tune in tomorrow as we finish up our trilogy on Studio Series 86 Megatron. Until next Prime, bye-bye for now.